Hello ladies and gents, I'm the Dapper Rat, and today I'm tackling another For Honor issue. But before we get into that, my last video mostly covered character design flaws and inconsistencies that are afflicting the game. Now, I'm not immensely proud of that video. I do believe I could have explained better and maybe spent more time on certain topics or examples, but overall I think I was concise enough to get my point across. I'm also setting a few of these videos up as a precursor to a series about reworking different aspects of For Honor. So this video is here to cover the second part of a hero that is important, their feats. Now, coming after feats is definitely a daunting task, as unlike character design, I'm a bit lost as where to start. So like any person with a functioning brain and stem, I'm going to categorize all feats and look at what I and the community think are healthy or bad ones, then draw similarities. For Honor has 4 tiers, with tier 1 being the weakest and 4 being the strongest. The stronger tiers take longer to unlock than the weaker ones. Overall, I believe this design is very well done and could even possibly be reworked, although is perfectly fine as is right now. The second category we have is passive and active feats. Passive feats are permanently active and sometimes have their benefits locked behind conditions, while active feats are used through a player input, activating the feat and thus putting it on cooldown for a certain amount of time. Again, there's nothing inherently wrong with this design, nor do I have any innovations to add, so we'll leave it as is. Viewing what some feats do, we can see that there are many reskins of one another or heavily uninspired designs, realistically making them all copies of each other. Now, reskins aren't inherently bad, however it does mean that the overall amount of feats in the game is reduced. On top of this, many characters have feats that don't fit their playstyle and feel slapped on arbitrarily. In complete contrast to this, there are many other, mainly newer characters, who have unique feats that mesh with their kit in some way and push boundaries on what we thought feats could be. After all this, there is still the elephant in the room, which is balance. Many feats being a must pick, and with others so niche, useless, or sometimes even a detriment that most people forget that they exist after reading their description or using them once. Not to mention that the use of tiers is barely coherent at all. To summarize, we need more unique feats to avoid staleness, to attribute feats properly so that they feel cohesive with a hero, and to balance them to avoid repetitiveness and player anguish. The first problem we're going to tackle is uniqueness. Now, there is both a high and low effort way to go about this, and both could be implemented side by side. The high effort way is to implement new feats for each hero that meshes with their kit or character the way Afira, Pirate, and some other heroes do. Now, understandably, no studio really wants to spend money on new content when old content can suffice. However, if For Honor devs were ever to run into a creative drought, then this implementation would be a huge change for the game in a big way. That being said, the low effort solution would be reusing old assets. There are a ton of feats that are rarely used on any characters, with others being rampant across all heroes. Simply swapping out feats would do a lot to make characters more unique, and to help with that, we have to address our second problem. Feats need to be attributed to characters properly. This means that while swapping feats around, there should be a careful consideration of if it makes sense for a hero to have that feat and if it meshes with their personality. In a world where Shigoki has iron lungs, I refuse to believe this has been done in the past. Our final problem is balancing. Looking at some of the healthiest and unhealthiest feats, we can draw some conclusions about what makes a feat infuriating and unbalanced or a pleasant experience. From some analysis and community displeasement, we can see some patterns emerge. Feats with a bad design have little impact on gameplay, high partial unavoidable to completely unavoidable damage, incorrect placement of tier, or are an active detriment to normal gameplay. While feats with a good design reward the player for gameplay, add slight buffs to flesh out a kit, or pair with other feats/perks within moderation. There are also mid-tier feats which in of themselves aren't really bad, but aren't exactly praised either, and are often temporary buffs. With that being said, we now have a clear criteria for what a feat should and shouldn't embody. All feats should avoid bad design qualities and try to include good design qualities, while diversifying the selection to stop any one feat from overbearing others, and attribute these feats correctly by basing them on hero identity and kit. And of course, this also means that changes done to problematic feats would have to be reassigned to different heroes. Now, before I let you go, earlier in the video, I mentioned a potential rework for the tier system. Now, for the most part, this is just a creative idea that I think would be cool, but likely comes with a large amount of problems. This would be changing feats to a point system utilizing the stars we already have. For example, right now you can use a tier 1, 2, 3, and 4th feat, which comes to a total of 10 stars. My idea would be that you can pick multiple low or high level feats from your character's kit utilizing a point system. This means that you could have 2 tier 4s and a tier 2, 3 tier 3s and a tier 1, or even 3 tier 1s and 3 tier 2s as long as it's equal or under 10. Now I don't truly think this should be implemented, but was interesting enough I thought I'd add it to the video. Another idea that is important to the conversation is whether or not feats should be unlocked as a team or as an individual. Currently, I don't have a strong stance on this, but working feats to be unlocked on a team basis would be good, especially if renown gain is balanced towards doing objectives that support your team. That's all I have for today, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below, as well as liking and subscribing while you're down there. That being said, farewell ladies and gents.